Sure. Eric Steinhilber, live in Hyannis. Well, I grew up here, so there's quite a few. So it's hard to kind of pick one over the other. But I'd say growing up, so a couple things that popped to mind. July 4th, Barnstable Village. That was always a big deal with my family. We were involved. My dad was in the Hyannis Kiwanis group, and we do hot dogs and hamburgers. They're still doing that today. But being involved in that, going out to the county fair was fun in the summer. My parents had a business in West Barnstable, so I spent a lot of time, along 6A, going back and forth from home to there. And, school was great. I went to BWB. Had some great memories of being a little kid over there. So. Sure. 1992. It was, everyone always says, well, it was a simpler time, right, when they're looking back. But in some ways it was. I mean, we didn't have the internet, when I was in high school. Didn't have that for a couple of years, going into college either. So you had a little bit of a different take of how schools functioned. There's a little bit more information at your fingertips now, obviously. That has some challenges being a parent and kids growing up now. But the town has changed, but it's also remained in many ways the same, which is nice to kind of see the character still remaining. First job was Heartland Food Warehouse. Was located in what was the Sports Authority that just closed, but in the Kmart Plaza. My boss's name, let's go back a little bit. Store manager's name, I think it was Frank Clifford. Have not seen him in a long time, but that was my first job, $5 an hour. I thought that was all the money in the world. It's fantastic. We got a really good group of town councilors. I've enjoyed working with all of them. Jessica's done a great job with her leadership of the council over the past few years as president. I think we've really started to move in some great directions on addressing some issues that need to be addressed, and I'm actually really excited about the next several years and beyond what can be done here in Barnstable. Say the kind of the community. It's we're not a tiny town by any means. I mean, we're a good-sized town, but it still has that small town kind of feel. That the village centers are very unique than other places. It has everything that you really need. I mean, obviously we're not Boston or anything like that, but we have a big commercial center. All the services that you'd look for are located somewhere in Barnstable, but it also has those little hideaway, parts too, little village centers, the beaches. I just think we're a really good mix. A lot of volunteer spirit in town, which is great. You see it in the school systems and other groups you might be involved in. A lot of active citizens. And it's just a really good, solid community to be a part of. Fall, no doubt. This time of year. It's like the weather. You get that crisp air. I'm not a big heat and humidity guy, so August can be a little rough. So you're finishing up your summer. I'm a big football fan, so this is football season. The kids starting up a new school year is always exciting, and my family really loves the holidays, as a lot of families do. But the Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas kind of trifecta there. That fall leads right up into that, and it's just a really fun time of year around my house and with my family. I think it's our financial situation, our economic opportunities. We're really we're in a strong financial situation. We can respond to when there are dips in the economy. We have that kind of economies contract and expand, but we have such a solid base, financial stability, that really helps us. Also helps us address issues that we need to dig in on because we have those resources available. And I think there's a lot of people out there starting their own business, a lot of entrepreneurs, like you said, a lot of volunteers, a lot of active citizenry. I think that's fantastic. I think that's some of Barnstable's greatest strength, are the people that here live in the town, stay involved in the town, and our financial stability. Well, I think we're starting to see some change. One thing I'd like, I think for a lot of years it was kind of status quo on economic growth. But everything we do in Barnstable revolves off of new growth dollars. Every issue you want to address, every road you want to pave, you need revenue for that. And I want to see that off of new growth dollars. So how do you do that? You get more businesses in town, but not just retail, kind of bricks and mortar, but the companies, tech companies, light industry, blue water type economies. What are some of the businesses we can attract into town that are going to bring with them good paying jobs? And then you're going to kind of see that, that revenue stream increase. But also I want to make it easier to develop in town in a smart way. I want to keep our unique character, but certain sections of town need to be looked at with a lot of future thought. In the next 10 years, what do we want this to look like? And have kind of a unified plan. But I want Barnstable, I want developers and businesses to know that we're here, we're open for business, we want to hear their ideas, and we really invite them into our community, because everything that we need to address in the community is going to come off of new growth dollars. Favorite place would probably be the north side. I grew up in Barnstable Village. My folks had a Homeport Realty down in West Barnstable, so I spent a lot of time going back and forth on 6A. Mowed a bunch of lawns for people along that stretch of road, and it's got a lot of history as you kind of go through all along 6A, but that Barnstable Village Center and West Barnstable, kind of its farming background, and it's a unique, it's very different than some other sections of town. And growing up there, I just, I have an affinity for that area of town. I would, although the kids right now, if you ask them, they want to move to Disney World. But as they grow up, they love living here. They really take advantage of all the different activities in Barnstable. They're both, thriving in the school system. They're involved in different things. They love going to the beach. I mean, they're definitely Cape Cod kids. So I would. I also think it's good, though, to go away to college and maybe spend a couple of years working up in Boston, or maybe down, I know some people that do internships down in Washington, D.C., just to see, some other things. I consider myself fortunate. I did leave the Cape for a while. I lived in Florida for a number of years. I lived up in Boston for a number of years. So you get to see, different communities, how they function. In my role as an elected official, you can kind of see how some different governments, how some different states function, local and state level. So it kind of brings a more varied experience. So I don't suggest people never leave the Cape. I think it's good to kind of get away from the Cape. You can always come back, and that's what I did. My wife grew up on the Cape as well. She was a year behind me, Barnstable High. And when it was time to raise a family, I mean, this is a great place to raise a family. So, but again, as we kind of approach changing things in Barnstable, getting those better paying jobs in here, getting those companies to come in here, and we kind of change some things up. I think there'll be more opportunities for young people to come back after college, or if they go to trade school or whatever they do, or maybe straight out of high school, maybe they got a great business idea and they want to start their own company. So I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities maybe than there was years ago to stay put. But I think I would definitely encourage my kids to stay here, and I know they love it, so I would hope they continue to. Well, some of them are challenges faced by a lot of communities. Obviously, the opiate addiction is a big one, and we see that all over the country, really, not just here on the Cape. We've been addressing that. The homeless situation, housing is an issue. Again, jobs, good paying jobs here in Barnstable. So those are things I'd like to see addressed and changed, but we're making good strides in all of those areas. There's still a lot of work to do, but with the council that we have, the leadership that's in place, the leadership in the town manager's office, in the various departments here in town, we are headed in the right direction on a lot of things. Unfortunately, things don't happen overnight, but you got to get a lot of oars going in the same direction, and I feel confident that we're going to be able to address those issues and have a positive outcome. Exciting day. Well, growing up here, there's been a lot of them, but I guess if I think more recent, I mean, being elected to the town council in a town that you grew up in. I remember coming into the chamber here as a high school student, my American government class, and you never thought you'd be sitting up at the dais at some point, but being elected to the town council was definitely an exciting day. It was exciting, for my folks, and it was exciting for everyone so that was just a great feeling, knowing that you were going to be able to be part of the leadership of the town that you chose to call home and the town you grew up in. Doesn't happen too often. Relax with friends and family. We do, beyond my work with the town council, obviously got a regular job as well. My wife works, the kids are involved in sports and scouts, and so there's always something going on. But if we have nothing on the calendar, we like to spend time together, maybe make a nice dinner. I'm a big sports fan. I like watching all the different Boston sports. I like to get out and golf when I can in the summer. Schedule doesn't always allow that, but that's something if I got some free time I love to do. And we like to go away and take some vacations when we can. So like most people, just hanging out with friends and family. Sure. Eric Steinhilber, Hyannis.